This is On Track, talkSPORT's weekly motorsports show. I'm Jon Jackson, and now I'm joined by this week's special guest, someone who's been on the show many, many times before in many, many different guises, whether it's GB3, the F1 Academy, Formula E with Nissan, or just as a friend of the show. Of course, it is Abbi Pulling. Abbi, you dropped some big news yesterday, and that's the reason we're talking today, because it's pretty significant.
Yeah, I'm going to be back racing in GB3, which is really exciting. I'm over the moon, to be honest. It's been a hard kind of winter to get it all sorted, but yeah, it's kind of another year. Everything sets to zero. That's what the best part about Christmas is. All the points go back to zero, and you get another shot at it. So yeah, just excited to get going. Really, back with Rodin Motorsport, a team that I've won with in the past, and have a really good track record.
So it'll be your fourth season with Rodin, because you did F1 Academy, you did F4, you've done GB3 last year, and then obviously GB3 this coming season as well. What is it about Rodin that has just been a good fit for you? You kind of get on incredibly well.
I mean, of course, performance. They're an incredibly well experienced team that can perform really well on track. But also off track, they are really friendly. They're such a nice community. I don't know if you want to say community, but the group of people there are all super friendly and just are really willing me on to do an amazing job. And they give me the facilities to try and do that. And I think we just have that mutual kind of appreciation for each other and want to see each other do well. And yeah, it's so nice to be a part of a team like that, and the people behind it. And the people behind me being able to race again this year, I can't thank them enough. Of course, one of their investors is Rodin Cars. And yeah, without Rodin Cars, the last 2 years, or even 3 years, I probably wouldn't have been racing. So yeah, I owe a lot to them. And yeah, again, as always, very, very thankful for that kind of support.
We've heard from David Dicker before, the man behind Rodin Cars, and we saw quite publicly that your prize for winning the F1 Academy was a fully funded seat in GB3, which was what happened last year. But I imagine things are a little bit different this year, because I know behind the scenes you've been grafting quite a lot, because it's a reality of motorsport that to get on the grid, you need to find the funding. And obviously not everyone comes from a multi-millionaire family that can just drop hundreds of thousands of pounds to let their kid go and live out their dreams. So, how have you funded, and how have you been able to get on the grid this year? Because it's no easy thing to do, is it?
Yeah, I mean, last year was fully funded, with the exception of the crash damage. So Rodin Cars supported me quite significantly, even last year. But this year again, it's been quite a bit of a graft. I've had a really great amount of support from Rodin Cars again, as well as various other sponsors that have been with me and come along for the journey. But a big part of it is also my merchandise and my personal brand. I sell my merch to the fans. Released a collectible mini helmet, which is really cool. My F1 Academy Championship mini helmet. And there was a package on there where you can, actually be on my race car for the year, which is really cool. With obviously a name. So a select few people that buy it get their name on the car. And it's another way to raise money. And although it's not, as much as what a big corporate sponsor can put it in, it's a little bit that aids. I say a little bit, it's a lot of money. But in the scheme of motorsport, it's a little bit that aids towards that pot. And then also, some of my personal earnings, even not just that, but if I do some commentary work or do, I don't know, some public speaking, or I don't know, dance, and I'm joking. But yeah,
Paper round is what you're getting at, yeah.
Where, yeah, anything where I've got a little bit of income, it all goes towards that pot, which goes towards my racing, which especially is the case for 2026. And to be honest, it's probably the year that I'm most proud that I've managed to get over the line. because it was also the one that I think was the most close to not being able to get it over the line, which is a really scary thought. But yeah, I'm so proud of what I've managed to achieve, and still going, and yeah, I just want to make it another good year, and improve quite a lot, let's say, from last year.
It shows that there is the fight in you, because a lot of people wouldn't give up everything they possibly earn, as you sort of joke about it. You working with brands. I know you were, at certain races with certain brands that you've, I guess, got to know through being the F1 Academy champion a couple of years ago, and also from all the good work you do, and to chuck all that money back into something which, there's no guaranteed payoff, also shows your dedication to what it is you want to do and your dream. And I guess when people do buy your merchandise, it's extra special because they're investing in your future as well. I actually got a message a couple of days ago from a guy that I went to school with quite a long time ago, and just a DM out of the blue randomly saying that he's followed your progress and realized that suddenly, we've worked together a little bit, whether it's Formula E or GB3. And it's baffling to me that this guy that I knew, a long time ago, has such an interest in your career, because he's not necessarily a motorsports fan. He's just happened to kind of stumble across and follow what you're doing. And that, to me, sort of shows the kind of huge impact and interest that you have as a racing driver. And I think it shows that even winning F1 Academy, which comes with a lot of fanfare and a lot of attention, especially from the media and worldwide, even that doesn't guarantee you a seat the next year or the year after. So it's impressive to see, what you've done to get on the grid, and we look forward to seeing you with GB3. Let's talk a bit about last season then, because I know you were a little bit disappointed with how parts of it went, but, there were certainly strong bits, with, I guess, the podium at Brands Hatch being a massive standout for you. And I'm assuming you want a lot more podiums and a race win, at least, for this season.
Yeah, I mean, getting the podium was great. I mean, I'm aware that it wasn't the feature race, if you want to call it that. So for me this year, that will be the goal, to bring back a lot of points in them races, and bring back kind of more podiums and wins for sure. I think, I know I'm capable of competing at the front and at the sharp end. There's no doubt about that. I'm not here to make up the numbers, and there's points last year where I felt like that a little bit sometimes. So I need to up my game a little bit. Although some people, again, like you say, last year was incredible, and it was a really great season. For me, I always hold myself to the highest standard and want to excel and do better and push myself in that way, and everyone around me as well, wants me to be at the front, and knows that I'm capable of that. So that's also really nice. And I think this year, just a little bit of a refresh, kind of cleaning up my head a bit. I think part of last year was a bit of a mental game with myself as well, but it's not unthinkable. And I think, even around my announcement, there's probably been some, comments about, that I'm doing it again, and that I'm old or whatever, however old 22 can actually be. But it's funny to see them kind of comments, because I don't think they really understand the work that's gone into getting on the grid, as well as what I'm here to stand for, and I'm here to show that gender doesn't matter, and women can compete at a high level, and go up the ranks, and try and go as far as possible. And anyone that has a problem with that, then they're not worth my time, really, I guess. But there's many more people that are supporting that and do want to see me succeed and do want to see me do well. And for that, all them people that are supporting me and wearing the merch and so on and so forth, I really appreciate. And I just hope I can do everyone, I guess, proud and justice this year, and kind of put the actions to what I'm saying, I guess.
I'm interested to know, how have the comments and how has the reaction changed, if at all, since you started out getting a bit more attention, obviously, when you started doing F4, when you started doing F1 Academy versus now with GB3 and obviously with your profile being at its highest? Have you noticed a change in those kind of negative comments that sadly are always probably going to be a part of any young racer's career?
Yeah, it's quite there's quite a lot actually. It's sad how much hate there is in the world, to be honest. But there's some people's mindsets that I've kind of grown to realize you're not going to be able to change. And that's just how it is in any sport or any discipline. Someone's going to have something negative to say, or in even anything in life. There's as humans, we naturally walk towards the negatives. And for me, people often compare me to, the guys that are doing this at a much younger age and so on and so forth. Kimi Antonelli was in F1 when he was 17. That was the first time I drove a single seater when I was 17. So it kind of puts things in perspective that, yeah, I'm going to be a bit older and, who cares? And, I've not done multiple championships in a year other than 2024. And that was my best season, and I did well in British F4 as well, and even with missing a third of the championship. And yeah, I mean, people are really quick to kind of like try and microanalyze things and not seeing the bigger picture, I think. And I'm here to try and get to the top and get as far as I can and kind of help inspire and make a difference, lower down the ladder, or even if it's just getting one more female into motorsport. That's, that is part of the change that is happening at the moment. And yeah, I mean, if people dislike that, then that's on them. But for me, I'm focused on myself, focused on helping, the community that wants to be involved in motorsport, and yeah, trying to get to the top, raise money to do it, I guess.
Have you found that, obviously, and also, by the way, the Kimi Antonelli reference, I mean, you weren't supported from a very young age by a massive car manufacturer and brought through as a protege of the CEO and team principal. So, everyone's got a different story. Have you found it more...
Yeah, exactly that.
Have you found it easier to deal with potential negative comments? Because I imagine when you start out, it's a little bit of a shock, especially that second season of F1 Academy when suddenly it was on TV and on F1 weekends.
To be honest, no, I've never really let comments get to me. There's maybe one or two where I'm like, oh, that actually did make me feel something. I don't necessarily actively go out looking for them. It's just something that pops up. But yeah, I think it's important to not let it kind of get to you, and there's always positive somewhere within the good. There's always a diamond in the rough somewhere. So that's kind of what it is, and I find, yeah, social media can be quite a scary place. I'm quite lucky that I've got a really, really nice fan base and group of people around me on the likes of Instagram and Twitter and whatever else there is, YouTube now, I'm on that, that are really, really supportive, and it's just filled with kind of positivity. There might be one troll. I can think of the name of the guy that spams every single comment and goes a bit crazy, and some of my kind of diehard fans might know I'm on about as well. But it's just, you get them kind of people, and you just got to kind of sit and laugh and then get on with your day, to be honest.
To be honest, there's always one person in the office you don't get on with. I know it's not someone in the office, but it's still someone that's, in your environment that you don't get on with. So you just ignore them, I think. Good to see that, that kind of thing doesn't get to you. So GB3, if you're new to GB3, it's the highest ranked single-seater series in the United Kingdom. It's been kind of going in its current guise for going into its 5th year, or maybe 6th year, actually, as GB3, formerly known as British F3 with the BRDC. There's a long title with that. Starts in the iconic location of Silverstone GP circuit, 23rd to the 26th of April. Then we go on, and it's kind of a British series that's morphed itself into a kind of British/European series. Second race of the season's in Spa in May, then the Hungaroring, the Red Bull Ring, Silverstone again, Donington Park, Brands Hatch, and it ends in Barcelona this year. Last year it was Monza, this year Barcelona, and I'm sure that you're quite happy it ends in Barcelona because you've won a race in Barcelona. How much can you remember about that?
To be honest, I didn't actually realise it ended in Barcelona because I'm very much, I know the tracks where it is, but I take things day by day. So I don't actually know where they all place in the lineup. But yeah, it's a really cool circuit. I am really happy that the championship is going more towards European races, just as well as the British races. I mean, nothing beats Brands Hatch on a cold, foggy morning. But it's also nice to get the sunshine every now and then and go to places like Barcelona. But I think the calendar as a whole is really exciting, and it's all a really big mixture of tracks. Not one are kind of alike to one another, and it's not samey in any way, which is quite exciting. And I think we can all agree, probably everyone on the grid is excited for the likes of Austria, Budapest, Barcelona. Spa is also a good one as well. So you can't beat it really. So and then mixing in Silverstone twice. And I'm just talking about it. I just want to kind of get on a plane and get to the tracks.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I think it's good that 5 of the 8 race weekends are on F1 circuits, and actually, if you count Silverstone twice, then in theory 6 of the 8 weekends are on F1 circuits. And obviously, a lot of young drivers have the aspirations of moving up the ladders. We've seen your teammate last year, Alex Ninovic, who won the championship. He's gone on and he's doing Formula Regional, or FREC, I think it's now called this year, as they've rebranded it. I think you were in a really strong team last year, actually. All 3 of you, along with Gianmarco Pradel, were successful in parts of the season. So do you know who your teammates are this year, or is that sort of closely under wraps? I'm not sure if Rodin have announced any of the team yet.
So Maxime Rem, he's been announced. So
race winner in his first race weekend in Monza. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know about the next seat.
Okay. Alice Powell going to make a comeback?
Oh gosh, I think she's done with her racing days unless someone decides that they want to take her to, I don't know, Le Mans or something.
Hey, look, I'm sure we'll see her in a car again. We actually saw her in the Formula E rookie test not too long ago, and that's coming up in Miami. Obviously, no official announcements, but you are part of the Nissan team and you do a lot of good work with them. So, maybe you'll be part of that when it comes to Miami in a couple of weekends' time. What is the end goal with Formula E then? Because there have been a lot of whispers over the years of, maybe they're going to do a second series that runs alongside it, because some of the maybe detractors would say that Formula E has one race series on a weekend and you don't actually see a lot of racing. So, I know that Jeff Dodds, the CEO, has told us on this show before that he would love to have a second series that would support that race and could be a feeder series to racing in Formula E full time. But then it feels like when we've seen you doing these rookie tests or these free practices, that you can actually mix it up with some of the drivers who are driving in the series already. So maybe you don't need a feeder series. Maybe your eyes are set on a full-time race seat in the future. So GB3 this year, could it be Formula E Gen 4 next year?
Yeah, I mean, who knows if this season goes really well and the stars align, that could be maybe a possibility. I mean, the team are really complimentary of me and really want to see me succeed. And yeah, the unique thing about Formula E is there is no feeder series towards it, so it makes it quite unique. And they normally pick it from the pathway to Formula One, or even ex-Formula One drivers that come from there and jump into the Formula E car. And even some of them struggle because it's a really kind of different ball game. It's not too many parallels, although apparently this year with how they've got a new power unit in F1, I think there's maybe a little bit more parallels now with the power management. But yeah, it's a championship kind of like no other, and it's a world championship, so it is, the pinnacle, and it would be very, very cool to race in a world championship one day. There's no doubt about that. My role with Nissan, they're a really amazing bunch, and I've stood kind of into this year into an even deeper role, let's say, in the sense of I did a race weekend support at Sao Paulo, and it all went well. So and I kind of did an okay job on the sim. So now almost all race weekends I'll be obviously some timelines don't work, but I'll be supporting on the simulator back in Viri whilst they're racing in whatever country they're racing in, which for me is super exciting, and I actually do really enjoy the development and feedback side of things in anything that I've raced in. So doing that in Formula E, where there's a lot of people involved, is also quite exciting. But yeah, a full-time race seat would be incredible. I mean, if I was to go into a feeder series, it would be interesting to see what that feeder series entails. Of course, it depends how it all fits in. Whether a feeder series even comes to fruition, we don't really know. But I think Formula E is such an exciting avenue to take. It's constantly growing. It's only very new. They've barely just done 10 seasons. So and people always compare it to Formula One, which I think they're like 70 years old now. So it's
76
hard to really
seasons Formula One is going into. Whereas Formula E is in its 12th season now, and the new generation will be 13. And it's funny, isn't it? Because people have always sort of said you can't compare it. And now a lot of the conversation with F1 going to 50% electric power is, suddenly every F1 driver is in hot demand to work behind the scenes with Formula One teams and drivers because they want to know how you drive an electric car. So I actually think you're in a great position with your work with Nissan, that when it comes to the end of this first season of the new regulations in F1, you're going to have all this experience working behind the scenes with electric motor cars in Formula E, that you're going to be even more in hot demand, and especially working with Oliver Rowland, the current champion, and Norman Nato, and also Sam Bird, who are incredibly experienced drivers. I think you're in a particularly good place. What do you make of, I think it was Esteban Ocon said this past couple of days, I know a lot of the drivers have been talking a lot these recent few weeks as the cars get unveiled, about having to kind of basically forget everything you learned since junior racing to drive the Formula One car this year. It seems like they've all suddenly realised that they're going to have to learn a new skill. And I guess as someone that's driven a car that's 100% electric powered versus the 50% they'll be driving, you can probably understand a little bit how they may not be able to push 100% all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it almost is reminiscent of explaining kind of Formula E to an extent in that sense. You've got to unlearn a lot and change your driving style a little bit when you jump into Formula E. And obviously the power management, although I've not done a race, I've done a lot on the simulator in race simulation and in practice in the car, and regen laps and race laps. So as you say, you can't go 100%, although you are pushing, but you need to do it whilst being kind of efficient, and it's a whole different approach. And it's quite nice to see the F1 drivers having to all kind of add a new is it quill to their bow? I don't know what the
string to their bow.
I don't know what the
feather to their quill.
That's the one.
Possibly. Yeah, I think so.
Feather to their quill. I got it. I merged the two together, even better. But yeah, I mean, like what they're saying is quite exciting, and it's quite cool to see kind of the synergies between the two, and them come together, and the drivers kind of, not that they didn't already, but appreciate each other and be like, actually, I can learn a little bit off of you. So kind of spill the beans.
I think it's going to be a fascinating season. Obviously, we're covering it across the talkSPORT Driving YouTube channel and this show On Track. Next week, we're going to hear from the new team principal from Cadillac, Graham Loudon, and also loads more as we get towards the start of the season in Australia. That will come around very quickly. Of course, Formula E is in Miami in a couple of weekends' time. I'm sure we might see you there, given your work with Nissan. So it'll be great to catch up again, Abbi. But in the meantime, we look forward to seeing you start your new campaign in GP GB3 towards the end of April at Silverstone. And just remind people where they can get hold of your merchandise if they want. Is it a limited edition Abbi Pulling F1 Academy helmet?
The mini helmets are limited edition. Yeah, there's a set number, and when they're gone, they're gone. And then the merch, I have the limited in the past, but I think I like this one too much that I think I'm gonna have to restock it when it does go. But yeah, it's all on my website on abbipulling.com.
Excellent stuff. Well, Abbi, it's been great catching up. We'll see you in the States for Formula E, and we'll look forward to the start of the new GB3 season.